Hi, I came across a very disturbing news article today. To quote, "A woman in New Jersey refused to consent to a C-section during labor in the event that her baby was in distress. She ended up giving birth vaginally without incident. The baby was in good medical condition. However, her baby was taken away from her and her parental rights were terminated because she, quote, abused and neglected her child, unquote, by refusing the C-section, and she was accused of behaving, quote, erratically while in labor." Now, she was in labor. It hurts. Yeah, she's gonna behave erratically. I mean, if you were in excruciating pain and scared because you didn't know what was going on, because, of course, the doctors don't ever tell you what's actually going on. If you're lucky, you get a nice nurse who will explain things to you. But for the most part, you're as confused by what's going on as it is possible to be. Louise Marie Roth has a quote that I will read parts of that fully explain exactly how repugnant this is. First, from a legal perspective, individuals have a right to informed consent and bodily integrity. In obstetrics, informed consent is a blurry concept, since many hospitals perform obstetric procedures on laboring women without informing them of the evidence concerning those procedures or their risks. Perhaps this legal case illustrates how paternalistic hospitals can be with respect to pregnant women, assuming that the hospital staff know best and that informed consent is unnecessary. Never mind that hospitals tend to be run with organizational efficiency rather than patient interests in mind. In this specific case, one obstetrician who tried to convince the mother to consent to a C-section concluded that she was not psychotic and had the capacity for informed consent with regard to the C-section. It is clear within the law that there is no informed consent without informed refusal, so this obstetrician's conclusion should have made her refusal to consent to the C-section her decision alone. If this mother is not legally permitted to refuse major abdominal surgery, then she's clearly stripped of her civil rights to informed consent. I will note right here, it is major abdominal surgery because they have to cut through several layers of muscle that go in all different directions and then through the uterus to pull the baby out. They say that you recover for 6 weeks, but I never had one, and it still took me 6 weeks to recover from a vaginal birth. I can't imagine how much longer it would take to recover from major abdominal surgery. Plus, you're still taking care of a child in this time, at least in theory. To continue the quote, "In fact, individuals are not legally required to consent to invasive procedures even to save other individuals, including fetuses that lack full legal status. But in this case, the district and appellate courts subverted a pregnant woman's informed medical decision-making in the name of fetal rights, arguing that her refusal was a form of abuse and neglect of the child that had not yet been born." I will note here also that the whole point was moot in the first place because she delivered vaginally and the necessity of a C-section was never addressed because she didn't need it. So this shouldn't have even been an issue to begin with. To go back to the quote, "This is another dangerous precedent along with other court-ordered cesarean cases that will allow all pregnant women to lose their rights to bodily integrity and informed consent. It may be understandable, if not excusable, that the courts don't understand medicine or recognize that medical judgment is fallible, but it is hard to understand how they could so fundamentally misinterpret the law. in which performing surgery on an individual without that person's permission can constitute criminal battery under common law. Yeah. Wasn't even an issue, and they took her baby. By the way, the hospital also has on record that the mother was combative, uncooperative, erratic, non-compliant, irrational, and inappropriate. If you can't be inappropriate when you are trying to push a 9-pound baby out of your vagina, I don't know when you can fucking be inappropriate. And all those other things, combative, uncooperative, erratic, non-compliant, irrational, she's in a lot of pain and doesn't know what's going on. They stripped her of all human dignity. Because, I'm sorry, that's what happens in a hospital birth. I felt like I should be selling tickets to mine because it seemed like everybody that passed by the door came in for a free look. And what are you supposed to do? No, get out. This is my hospital room. Then you get labeled as combative and uncooperative and non-compliant and irrational. Yeah. Lose-lose situation. In this case, it shouldn't have been a case at all. And I deeply and sincerely hope that this mother and her baby will be reunited as soon as possible. Because the baby shouldn't ever have been taken away in the first place.